Speaking of actions, there is a rally that's
Yeah.
going to be happening in Washington, D.C. Look, I'm going to tell you guys this. If you guys can get out to Washington, D.C., please
Please
do
do.
get your ass out there
Yes.
be- because there is a rally called Rage Against the War Machine. This is deeply important.
Yes.
It's the anti-war rally, and you can see all the people who are in support of it. Some groups you may like, some groups you may not, but
Fine.
the point is the action against war, the action against imperialism. That's what it is. You may end up standing next to somebody you may not like, but that's okay because they're actually fighting for the same thing you're fighting for. And you can build a coalition around that, at least
Yes.
for just that one thing. So this is going to be on February 19th. Yes, it's also sponsored by the Libertarian and People's Party. I understand how some people may feel, but the point is the action against war and imperialism.
Yeah.
That
Guys,
is
it's
the point.
okay. It's okay to not like people and still attend events that if you care, this has always blown my mind. If you are
Mm-hmm.
of the opinion that, oh, I care about this thing, but somebody I don't like is also fighting for that thing. So that means I cannot fight for that thing. What the
Mm-hmm.
fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care what party you belong to. I don't care what books you read. I don't give a shit. If you want to end the war machine, then we're on the same team for that thing.
Yeah.
It's okay to
For
not
that
like
thing.
everybody that's involved. I have my issues with People's Party. I have my issues with the Libertarian Party. I don't agree with everybody involved. I'm still going to show the fuck up because it's important.
Yeah.
This is bigger than any of us or our egos or our,
Mm-hmm.
our little fights that we have amongst each other. This is bigger than that.
But my question is, who is your biggest enemy? Are your biggest enemies these
Exactly.
particular podcasters, these particular groups, or is
The war
it
machine.
the war machine? Is it imperialism? Is it racism? Is it capitalism? Choose your enemy. My enemy is imperialism, these wars, imperialism, capitalism. Those are the people who I am going to fight against tooth and nail. And
Yep.
if somebody who I disagree with is willing to lend a hand in punching the lights out of capitalism, good.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
point.
Yes.
And
That's what always like stop getting distracted about nobody's saying you have to be best friends with somebody you don't like. You don't have to like go out to dinner, take a vacation with them. All you have to do is show up to a rally in support of an issue that we should all care about. Like this is something that if anything could bring us together, it should be this.
yes.
The war machine is completely y'all, how much money are we giving to the military industrial complex a year? There are people
Oh,
starving on the streets. There are people who don't have health
billions.
care. There are kids who can't afford to like they can't even survive. And
No.
we're gonna like get angry about some podcast battles and not show up to a war or to a rally to fight against the war machine. I mean, listen, the people of Yemen don't give a shit about your opinions about some podcaster. They don't care. It makes no difference to
Thank
them.
you.
The people of Syria don't give a shit about whatever beef you have with some podcaster or some political group. They don't care. They don't have the time, energy, or resources to care. They're trying desperately just to survive the war machine. So
Yep.
just get over yourself. I mean, I don't mean to sound mean. I do kind of because it's really frustrating.
I
But get
gotcha.
over yourself. Like I don't care. Like listen, there's plenty of people who don't like me that I don't like. Ryan Graham hates my guts. If Ryan Graham shows up to that rally, I don't care. I don't have to go talk
Yeah.
to him. I might stop by and say, "Hey, thanks for showing up. Like that's cool that you did that."
Yeah.
But I don't like we don't have to be besties, but I'm not going to then not go cuz somebody that I don't like is there. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
like Jimmy Dore, fine. You don't have to like Jimmy Dore. Lots of people don't
Yeah.
like Jimmy Dore. It's not about
Yeah.
Jimmy Dore. If you're
Yeah.
making this about Jimmy Dore, you are completely missing the point.
Yeah. Just stay on the other side of the rally
Yes, you
if you
don't
don't
have to
like them.
like hang out with him after. You don't have to like go get high with him and stuff after the
Yeah.
rally. You don't have to like go hang out with him or go on vacation with him or have dinner with him. It's not
Yeah.
about Jimmy fucking Dore. It's
Yeah.
not.
You know.
It's
Yeah.
not. Get over
Yeah.
yourself. Show up when it matters.
Sabby and Eric is going to be there. You know, if you don't like Sabby, stay on the other side. Sabby don't
If you
want
don't
you near
like
her
me,
anyway.
you don't have to come say hi. I don't care. I don't care. Like
Yeah.
or if you want to come say hi, come say hi. Like I'm incredibly socially awkward, but I love meeting people. Like it's fun. It's cool. I like being able to put a name with a face. Even if you
Mm-hmm.
don't like me, that's fine. Like you don't have to like me. You don't have to like Sabby. You don't have to like Jimmy Dore. You don't have to like Nick Brana. You don't have to like Angela from the Libertarian Party, McArdle. You don't have to like any of us. It's not about personalities. This is about the issue. Please stop letting the bullshit
Mm-hmm.
distract us from fighting for. That's exactly how they win. Y'all, why do you think they spend so much time, energy, money, resources, effort keeping us divided? It's so that
Yeah.
something like this doesn't succeed. That's
Yep.
exactly why they do it. And you're just doing the work of empire if you allow that to happen.
Yep. Yep. Let's go to the speakers to see who's going to be there.
This list
What
is
do you
growing
know?
every day. Every day
Yep.
they're still in talks with people. So
Mm-hmm. I heard, and I'm just like, whoa, hang on. So you have Jimmy Dore, Medea Benjamin, Scott Horton.
love Scott Horton. If you don't have
Mm-hmm.
his books, get them. So good.
Cool. Garland Nixon. I actually want to get Garland Nixon on.
I love
There's,
Garland.
yeah, he's a pretty chill guy.
He's a Zen
Uh,
master. I keep telling, like I met him in DC when we did the Clovers for Assange protest, I don't know, a couple
oh,
years ago. And he was telling me about how he's a Zen master.
really?
And I was like, teach me your ways. I
Oh,
have no
okay.
Zen. I need him to teach me some ways.
Okay. Start calling him the Big Z. All right. David Swanson, Daniel McAdams. Oh, look, Max Blumenthal, journalist. Anya Parampil. She's journalist with the Gray Zone as well.
Also Max's
Supreme.
wife. And I love her.
Oh, really?
Love her. Yes.
Hey, I see you, Max.
Right.
Supreme, who is part of the Wu-Tang Clan producer. I think he's the son of one of the members of the Wu-Tang Clan. So you have him. Tara Reid is going to be there.
My
Diane
girl.
Sayre, and she's candidate for New York Senate.
She challenged Chucky the Shoom.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Scott Ritter, great guy. Kim Iverson's going to be there. No matter some people think about Kim Iverson, guess what? She is trying to end the war machine. No matter what you think about Jackson Hinkle, he's going to be there. I definitely have some disagreements with him, but guess what? He's going to be there in the war machine. Look, good on Jackson for showing up.
Yeah.
I congratulate him. Matthew Ho, I actually had him on my show. It was great to have Matthew on. Matthew was also running in the Green Party in the North Carolina Senate race. Great guy.
They tried to screw him. Well, they did screw him over hardcore, but he did not buckle. He fought back, which is always good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not you guys know I don't do the electoral politics thing. I think it's a massive waste of time and energy. But if you're going to do it like Matthew Ho did.
Yeah, exactly. And so these are some of the speakers, and they're adding more. Savvy said they're adding more like every other day. So
yeah, I think they're in conversations with a couple of different people. I think they're trying to space out like the announcements of them, so it's not just like blah, you know what I mean? But yeah, they're doing a great job. And I just to be clear, I am not an organizer with this rally. They asked me to be involved kind of on the side because one of the demands is to free Assange. So they asked me to be to help them out with the Assange messaging and stuff like that. I'm doing some social media stuff for them. So I'm not an organizer. I don't want to take any undue credit whatsoever. There's a lot of people who are doing listen, organizing is fucking hard. It's incredibly time consuming. It's stressful. And there's a lot of people who are working very hard behind the scenes to pull this rally off. So yeah, I just want to make it clear. I'm not an organizer and I don't want to take any undue credit. But this is really important. The anti-war movement in this country has been all but neutered. It's gone. Like it doesn't exist. And so this attempt to revitalize it is long overdue. It's incredibly necessary. It's needed. And we need to figure out a way to come together for these things that we care about. Like I said, I
Yeah.
don't care if we disagree on abortion, if we disagree on economics, if we disagree on COVID, if we disagree on whatever, that's fine. We can have those
Mhm.
conversations at a different time. But if you
Mhm.
want to fight back against the completely out of control war machine and death economy and imperialism, and
Mhm.
fight for the people of Yemen and Syria and
Mhm.
Palestine and Venezuela and the numerous other countries, Africa, the entirety of Africa. If you want to come together and fight back for those people and to fight not just for them, but for us, because our war machine is killing us, not directly. The bombs aren't dropping on us yet, but
Yeah.
but that's the chickens will come home to roost eventually.
Yes.
And we need to also be aware of the fact that the amount of money that is being spent on blowing people up for profit takes away from our ability to feed, clothe, house, provide healthcare for all of those things that I think most of us recognize that we need and that we want and that would make our country better and stronger. And we
Yeah.
can't have those things until we destroy the military industrial complex.
Yeah.
So this is important. I cannot stress that enough. I don't care if you don't like people involved. You don't have to. That's okay.
Yeah.
But show up if you can. Show up if you can.
Mhm.
Help
Mhm.
spread the word. It is incredibly vital that
Yeah.
we revitalize the anti-war movement in this country.
Yeah. And one of the pieces that killed the anti-war movement was actually when Ronald Reagan was governor of California. A lot of people don't know this, but the reason why you guys have to pay so much now for your college tuition is because of Ronald Reagan, because that was part of killing the anti-war movement, because the
Mm-hmm.
anti-war movement was very big in colleges until Ronald Reagan said the proletariat's too educated. We need to gatekeep the proletariat, so they started charging higher rates for institutions,
Yeah.
so for higher education institutions. And so now not only is the war machine bigger, but it's been neutered, and you have these high student loans that you guys have to pay, which
Mm-hmm.
you have really no way to pay it off because you can't claim bankruptcy. Thanks, Joe Biden. So it's really just one big
Well,
vicious
that's a
circle.
great point. All of these things are connected. I think a lot of
Hmm.
people don't make those connections and they fail to see how, for example, what's happening to Julian Assange, in my opinion, literally impacts everything.
Hmm.
Everything. All of the things that you're fighting for or against, you cannot be effective in that fight if you don't even have the ability to speak, if you don't have the ability
Hmm.
to educate yourself, if you don't have access to information.
Hmm.
And it's the same the anti-war thing. It's the same thing. The military industrial complex influences so much of our lives that I don't think a lot of people even recognize. For example,
Yeah.
education, the idea that, and again, like I said earlier, knowledge is power. And that's what that was about, was taking away your power. And that's the same thing they're doing now with the attacks on free speech, with the attacks on your ability to protest. There are anti-protest laws in various stages of development in all 50 states right now.
Yeah.
And they are trying to take away your ability to protest. They're trying to take
Yeah.
away your ability to redress your government. They're trying to take away. I mean, listen, this is not a joke. Like they're coming for all of us, and that's
Yeah.
why we say we are all Assange, because we are. This is. It starts with him. It does not end there. It
Yeah.
does not end there. And that's why I'm super pumped. It makes me really happy. I'm usually very cynical. For obvious reasons, there's not a lot to be very hopeful about in the current climate.
Hmm.
But seeing the way that the Assange movement has been very successful in kind of working across political ideologies, and welcoming in people from anywhere, that has been very it's given me a lot of hope. And then seeing this the Rage Against the War Machine rally and the way that they are kind of bringing people from all different sides, it's great. I mean, in October, when we just had that rally, we had people from all across the spectrum. I mean, we had Chris Hedges and Dave DeCamp, who's a libertarian, in the same rally with Ben Cohen, with Eliza Blue. Like, we had people from all, and they were all, and listen, No fights broke out. Everybody was fine. Reverend Annie Chambers, I just see her name now in the chat. Reverend Annie Chambers led our march around the Department of Justice. And she was marching with people that she 100% disagrees with. Jill Stein was there. Medea Benjamin was there. We had Reed Coverdale was out. He didn't speak, but he was there. Olivia Rondeau was there. She's a conservative. Like, we had people, a Fox News journalist, the only mainstream media to cover that rally was a Fox News guy. So yeah, that's it. And it was fine. Everybody was fine. We were able to come together on an issue that we all cared about, and it was fine. And we can do that. And it's not only can we do that, we absolutely have to. We have to. Y'all, I get that we have disagreements, and they are legitimate and serious conversations that need to be had. And we're not always going to get along, and it's not always going to be like a kumbaya, right? But we can't even have those conversations until we deal with a system that is designed to kill us all. Period. Yeah. We can't have those conversations. Your vote doesn't matter. They don't care what you want. They don't care your opinion on abortion. They don't give two shits about your opinion on the economy. They don't care. So until we deal with that system, none of those conversations even matter. Moot point. None of it matters. So let's deal with that first, and then we can fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And so I'll be, heading out soon, but you know what? We have to come together, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, is because number one, you are a wellspring of information, which I appreciate, and thank you for that. And we have to get our head out of our ass.
Yeah.
Especially many of us on the left, because we have to keep ourselves from being tribalistic as well. Because if, we're trying to open people's brains, open people's minds, we have to do it in a way that lets them know that we care and we're compassionate about them, because we don't want them to lose their rights either. Because if they lose theirs, then we lose ours. What's the I forgot who the gentleman who wrote it, but he said, when they came for the communists, I did not speak out, for I'm not a communist. And they came for the trade unionists, then I did not speak out because I'm not a trade unionist.
Yep, that's happening right now.
Except they came for the Jews, but I did not speak out because I'm not a Jew.
And then they came for me, and there was nobody to speak out.
Yeah.
Because I didn't speak out for anybody else.
Yeah. So my thing is like, are we speaking out for other people who are disenfranchised? And are we trying to talk to other people to awaken them to who the real threat is?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times there's certain people who will go, well, those truckers, they're the threat.
Right.
Or they'll go, all the trans people are the threat. Or the Mexicans coming across the border are the threat. And it's like, wait. You're talking about people who don't have power.
No power. No influence, no money, no nothing. That's what I'm saying, JB. People get so distracted by bullshit. My enemy is not a trans person. It's not an immigrant. It's not a trucker. It's none of those people. My enemy wears a $5,000 suit and sits in a boardroom. That's who my enemy is. That's who all of our enemy is. And we need to stop. Again, not saying we all have to get along and we all have to agree on everything, but we need to recognize who our true enemies are and deal with that and stop listen, it's so annoying because this is exactly what they want. They want us fighting amongst ourselves. If we are fighting each other, we are not paying attention to the man behind the curtain. And that is why they spend so much time, money, energy, and effort making sure that that's the environment that we live in. And that's why Fox News riles up the right and MSNBC riles up the liberals, so that everybody's fighting amongst themselves and nobody's paying attention to the fact that both of those places are owned and operated by the exact same fucking people. And they're just balancing each other out so that we're fighting ourselves and then we're not fighting them. And that's exactly what that you are doing the work of empire. And you just mentioned that we should fight for all of our rights, because if somebody loses their right, then I also lose mine. It's really weird to me. And I see this a lot on the left, where people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you're willing to talk to Republicans. Like, oh, you're a fashion enabler. You're a Nazi. Like, I've had like people on the left have told me that I'm a fascist because I'm willing to talk to Reed Coverdale or Clint Russell or Scott Horton. And then meanwhile, when a strike breaks out, they're like, oh, I support the workers. Do you though? Do you support all of them? Because some of those people on strike are Trump supporters. Some of those people on strike are Republicans. Some of the people on strike are people who disagree with you on literally everything. Do you support them too? Because I do. I support all of them. Don't be a hypocrite. Do not be a hypocrite. Don't pretend like you support workers when you don't. You support workers who agree with you. Be real about that.
Yeah.
Be real.
One thing that people need, especially on the left, need to realize is that compassion is the greatest tool to move people to see your side.
Yeah, you're certainly not going to convince a conservative or who, by the way, agree with us on a lot more than we think. But you're certainly not going to get them on your side if you look down at them, call them names, demean them, which I'm guilty of with shit libs, because I think shit libs are like the most dangerous force on planet Earth. Legitimately, I think they're far more dangerous than conservatives. I think the squad is far more dangerous than most people are willing to admit. But yeah, it's and I'm not saying I'm perfect. I am 100% guilty of that, but we need to start working towards that mentality where although we don't have to agree on everything, we do need to start attempting to speak to each other with respect. And again, also hard for me, especially on Twitter, because I deal with a lot of fucking trolls. And so my snark response is on a hair trigger because I'm just used to that. And I'm working on that. I'm trying to get better, because I think sometimes I've been really short with somebody or who was operating in good faith, but I'm just used to people being shitty to me on Twitter that I'm just like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, that's my immediate response. So I'm working on that. I'm not perfect. I'm certainly not pretending to be. But we're definitely not going to bring anybody to our side by speaking to them as if they're idiots or less than, or, you know what I mean? And I think that we've just lost so much of that. I forget who, it might've been Reed, but one of my libertarian friends tweeted something that, somebody asked a bunch of libertarians, what do you think would bring socialists to libertarianism? And they were like, better arguments and better leaders. And then they asked those same libertarians, well, what would convince you to go to socialism? And they said nothing. And I think that that's something that we really need to recognize, that a lot of people, we need to meet people where they're at, and we need drop the labels. Stop. I think that we, once we label something socialist or communist, a lot of people who are to our right will immediately just turn their brain off, and they're not hearing anything that we're saying. So I think if we drop the labels, I think we're going to be much more effective. But also stop demeaning people who disagree with you. Just because somebody has a different opinion than you doesn't mean that they're a bad person or that they're less than or whatever. A lot of people have just been propagandized by different things and different people. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We have a lot of work to do on that.
We do.
But yeah, I think that it would really get us a lot farther than this just constant, oh, well, you're a libertarian or you're a conservative, so I'm not even going to talk to you. I'm above that. Like, I've had literally people tell me that they're above those conversations. And no, you're not. You're not above that.
Yeah, they're just not willing to give people grace and being able to reveal the truth of what they know from their perspective to others. And they don't want to have that conversation, or to basically, they don't have the patience sometimes to
Which
teach
is okay.
somebody.
I get that. I'm not saying that like that is for everybody or that you're going to be successful every time. Like, I have those conversations a lot. Sometimes they go okay. Other times not so great. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And that's okay. But just don't pretend as if you're above that, or
Yeah.
that you're too good to talk to somebody who disagrees with you. You're not.
Yeah.
You know, nobody has all the answers. Nobody is right about everything. Be open to new information. Be humble in your
Mhm.
knowledge. And just again, I think it's really about giving each other grace and trying to find understanding. Again,
Well,
very
I'm right
hard.
about it. I'm right about everything. I don't make
I am not.
any mistakes.
I am not right
I
about
look,
everything. Not even
look,
close.
look. Every single wild hair on top of my head, I put that there on purpose.